Hi guys, this is Wade from Wade's Orchids. We're going to talk a little bit about Latouria type dendrobiums. Some of you may not know of this, but there's a face group called Orchidaholics Anonymous. If you don't know about it, I highly recommend that you check it out. There's a group of us on there that wanted to get what we call a project plan, where everybody gets the same plan and we document by posting on Facebook on Orchidaholics Anonymous how these things are going for us from year to year. And this year's project plant is a Latouria type dendrobium. So I'm going to show you some of the Latouria dendrobiums that I have that are in bloom and show you how to repot them and some cultural tips. So what we're looking at here, this one is a very famous Latouria type dendrobium. It's called Little Green Apples, and it has been in bloom with these flowers for quite a while. You can see that some of the flowers are starting to go, but I also want to show you this. If you look right here and right here, we have new flower spikes coming out. That just gives you an idea of how prolific these things can be with blooming. This thing has been, it started its first bloom this spring, and it has been in bloom ever since, I think it was like the end of March or so. It finished up the first flowers and it sent these two spikes out. Now it's sending two more spikes out. And as it goes on and on, these things will continue to produce flower spikes on each cane for several years. So they become a very, very nice plant and you will have flowers a lot more often than you won't on a mature plant. Most mature plants actually will be in bloom to some extent all the time. So there is Little Green Apples. One of the parents of Little Green Apples is Convolutum. Convolutum is also evidenced in this. This is Green Mist crossed with Convolutum. You notice the lip is very similar. Also, this is a first bloom on this. And yep, there's a new spike coming on there. And we may have more flower spikes coming. Like I said, they're very, very floriferous, and the flowers last 2 to 3 months when they bloom. So very, very nice things. Okay, so you may ask yourself how we can grow these things. Latouria type dendrobiums come from Southeast Asia, actually more into the Philippines, New Guinea, a lot of the islands off of Asia to the south and east. And they are usually lower elevation plants. Most of them get fairly good light, although as you can see in this one, that I'm giving it more than what it actually needs because the leaves don't have to be bronzy like this. But usually if you can give it a little bit stronger than Oncidium light or Cattleya light, you're doing good with it. As I did say, they're from a lower elevation on these islands, and they like warmer temperatures, although they do tolerate very well intermediate temperatures. And my greenhouse gets down to about 55, 56 in the wintertime, and it has no problem dealing with that. One thing that they do like is, and you will see this when I repot one here, is that they like to be watered well and then dry quickly. These are potted in a mix of kiwi bark and perlite, and usually in 2 to 3 days they're dry. So they like this cycle to repeat at least twice a week is very nice. That they will get watered real well, drench them, and then they'll dry in 2 to 3 days. So that's what they like. They do not want to be soggy by any means for any length of time, or wet for any length of time, more than 2 days or so. So you need to have a very fast draining potting mix. And a lot of times, as these get larger, we usually put them in clay pots. Okay, and now here we have the potting mix that we use. As I say, I use, this is kiwi bark, about 4 parts of kiwi bark to 1 part of number 3 perlite, and it's a medium bark. Also, something that I'm going to use today, this is called lava rock. It's very nice to use for one thing, for ballast, to keep a plant so it doesn't tip over very quickly, and also to make sure that the drainage is extremely good. So what we're going to use is, this is one of the project plants. The project plant is Dendrobium Norman Bayens crossed with Polysemia. Polysemia gets lots of hairs and stuff on the back of the flower petals, and also we will see a lot of markings, purple markings on the backs of the petals and sepals, although the flower itself will mostly be, the front of the flower anyway, will be a cream to a white color. Maybe a little bit of chartreuse, but mostly cream to white. And we're going to take this. This could actually stay in here for another year because it's in, the potting mix isn't too bad. But this is in large perlite, and this is from H&R Nurseries, and they use orchiata bark, which is very similar to kiwi bark. Both of these types of bark drain very quickly, and they do not retain a lot of water. So let's get this unpotted, and I'll just squeeze the outside of the pot here so it comes out easier. There we go. That wasn't too much trouble at all. Okay, now they use styrofoam peanuts, which is also a good thing to use for drainage. You want to have some kind of extra drainage, whatever you use. And I'm just going to work things around here a bit. I'm not going to worry about getting all of the media out because, like I said, it's orchiata. Orchiata bark decomposes very slowly. We're finding, actually with the kiwi bark, we're now saying 3 to 5 years on this type of potting. And I don't detect any softness at all with the bark here. So I'm just working this around a little bit. I don't really need to inspect the roots very much because I see they're all pretty much good and healthy. So we're going to just go like that. Okay. There we go. Alrighty. Get rid of that. And there is our pot. This would, I wish I had a 5 or 5.5 inch pot because it would actually be better. These things do not like to be over potted. Actually, let me check something out. I have a 4.5-inch round pot here. Let me see how that is. Yeah, you see that's a little bit too tight for the root ball if we want it to grow at all. So we're going to stick with this. And I'm going to make sure I give plenty of drainage. So we're going to dump this in the bottom, just like that. And we have a nice layer of the lava rock. Lava rock will hold on to a little bit of water, but not a lot. It will not decompose, which is very good. Now we're going to throw in a couple handfuls here and try to determine our growing point, which I think is right here. And just fill in around it. And I'm pretty sure that even though this is actually over potted a little bit, that it will not have any trouble drying. Firm things in real good. Now, something that you can do with your bark mixes, if something dries out too quickly, which will not be the case with this, you want to dry out as quickly as possible after it's watered. But if you have something that dries too quickly, and you notice, like for example, a cattleya, and the leaves look dehydrated a bit and wrinkled, then you can throw in like some top dressing, like some fine bark, or even a little bit of peat moss or something, and just work it into the mix and water it in. And that will cause it to retain more water. So we've got this repotted here. Something I want to tell you. Now we're in summertime, which is full growth mode for these things. They do not really take a rest per se, but in the wintertime they grow more slowly, especially for me. And because of that, that's mostly, I think, due to the fact that we're in a temperate zone and it gets cold in the winter. Like I said, 55-degree nights in the wintertime for me in the greenhouse here. Much less light. So I don't water as much in the wintertime as what I do in the summer. I usually figure on 3 days to let it dry, because the light level is lower. They aren't doing much more than just maintaining. So I let it go 3 days, and then I let it go another day, just to make sure that it gets good and dry. Because like I said, you want to make sure that it dries out completely before you water in the wintertime especially. In the summertime, when they're in active growth mode, that's not quite as critical. So that's about all I know to say right now for this. They are very tolerant. They will take a range of light. Roy Tokanuga from H&R usually says that you can grow this a little more moist if you keep it more shaded, and it'll do okay. I don't know that to be true. I grow them with my cattleyas. So if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks a lot for watching. This is Wade from Wade's Orchids. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.